What's up, guys? It's your boy, the hoodlum, Eric Acton, and you're tuning in to the 3 Count Podcast. Enjoy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller. I know you were expecting to hear Chaz's beautiful, beautiful voice, but he doesn't have one because he sucks. That's what happens on this show. So you are now listening to the 3 Count, and as I mentioned, it's me. So let's go around the horn and let's talk about everybody. Introducing first, he's only on this show because he's Chaz's little brother, and we're doing this in a different order because I'm the guy in charge. And that man is known as JJ, or as I like to call him, Napster.
I'd like to thank the sidewalks for keeping me off the streets. It's dangerous times out here, make sure you guys wash your hands. And Cliff, thank you for letting me go first on the list.
Yeah, all right. And next, the person that we have coming up, he is the former and current, and somehow I don't know how that works, heavyweight champion of bear wrestling and beating people with lead pipes. He is the man known as Chris Idol.
I'm very happy to be here. I like that introduction.
And last but not least, Chaz.
You know what? This is the last time you ever do an intro for any show we ever have in history. But happy to be here. I like to thank the sidewalks for keeping me off the streets. And all right, new catchphrase.
Oh, that's what we do now. We just take other people's catchphrases. That's what we do.
Yes, we're going to take everyone's catchphrase and pose. That's it.
So we do have a special guest. She is a deep friend of mine. She is an incredible woman. She's breaking all sorts of barriers all through the women's industry for wrestling. Please introduce our guest. Her name is Layne Rosario.
Hey guys, I don't have a catchy phrase, but I like to count 1, 2, 3, and then that's it. So hi guys.
We will take that. So, Layne, welcome to the show. We are glad to have you on. We're all got a series of questions for you. Plus, we have the hot round to ask you. It's 10 fire questions, just right off the bat, just whatever comes to your mind. So let's get into it first, right? I'm gonna go, then Chaz, then Justin, and then JJ will be in order. So first, let me ask, who in the hell is Derby Doll Layne Rosario?
Okay, so Derby Doll Layne Rosario is originally from Queens, New York, blushing. Instead of giving up the life of the squared circle for the flat track of roller derby, I decided I was going to stick to wrestling and bring that fire and that alternative and that crazy, spunky, in-your-face attitude to the squared circle. That's what Layne Rosario is.
Nice. Love it. So what's been one of your favorite things about being in the industry?
One of my favorite things about being in pro wrestling is the chance to, be a different voice and a different appearance, because I'm 5 foot tall. There's not a lot of women that are 5 foot tall, curvy Costa Ricans. And I grew up listening to and watching a lot of women in the independent scene and in pro wrestling on TV, like Luna Vachon and Sherry Martel, and I was like, they're loud and they're in your face and they're brash. Ooh, I want to be like that.
So, there's been a lot of things that have been kind of going on in the wrestling world. So one of the questions I really wanted to ask you is what's your thoughts on climate in the industry between fans and wrestlers?
I think that there is a different climate going on, and it can go 2 ways. It can either go one, that people will overstep their boundaries when it comes to the wrestlers themselves and go a little bit too far and say things that you really shouldn't say. And then there's other fans. I like to call them friends, because without them, there would be no us. So the friends of the squared circle that are there just simply to support you, and they like what you do. And I've even had little girls come up to me and say, I want to be just like you. So, there's a different climate with that, where you have some fans, because I'm a female, take it too far. And then there's other ones that are really supportive and say that you inspire them and motivate them. It just can go both ways.
Jazz, you're up.
Oh, this is me? Wow, I'm not used to this. I'm usually the first one. So, alrighty. I got some questions. First question, what does it mean to you being a woman in the wrestling industry?
For me, being a woman in this industry means a lot because it can show that not only am I a female, but I can hang like one of the boys. And at this stage in the game, it's blurred the lines. You know what I mean? We're just as much as athletes as the men are. And that's what it means to me. This whole women's evolution that has gone on over the past few years has been nothing short of empowering. To be honest with you, that women are taken in a different light now. We're not just eye candy, for lack of a better term, but we're seen as more athletic.
And so what's got to be the best thing about being a referee?
So the best thing about being a referee to me was actually being a figure, like an authoritative figure. I'm a Hispanic woman, and we like to be in control and we like to be in charge. So, I mean, why not? That, and it's nice to see that females are becoming more prevalent in the referee world, that it's not just the men, and that the women can be just as much of an authoritative figure as the men can.
I like that. It's true. We are seeing a lot more female referees in wrestling, and that's awesome. So my last question is, what's one thing that referees don't get enough credit for?
Everything. A lot of the referees, at least that I've seen in bigger companies and even on the independent circuit, they do a lot more than just what they do in the ring. They are truly the unsung heroes of the matches, because without them, a lot of stories couldn't be able to be told. They're like the third dancer in the dance party. And the dance party. And also, like a lot of us put together the rings, do things in backstage, help set up the arena that we're in, help break down at the end of the night. And there's a lot that goes into being a referee that a lot of referees, even on like the higher circuits, don't get a lot of praise for and credit for.
Okay. All right, now I'm gonna ask you some more lighthearted questions. Chaz and Cliff, they're the heavy hitters. I've got the easy questions. So
Okay.
Right off the bat, what's your favorite match that you've ever refereed?
Whew. Okay, so I don't have a lot of refereeing experience because I've only been a referee now for about 5 months, 6 months at this point.
Mhm.
So I would have to say that so far my favorite match to have refereed was at a WXW here in Claremont, Florida. It's run by Pops, aka Alpha the Wild Samoan. It was a tag team match between a set of twins called the Go Hard Life Twins and Rocky Radley and La Brava. It was just a lot of fun to referee. There was a lot of moving parts. It's nice for me to be a part of the women's matches still, even though I don't wrestle that much anymore. And that match was just fun. There was just so much going on, and it was just empowering to see how far the Go Hard Life Twins have come in their, young careers as well in the ring, and be able to, kind of help them out and give them talk to them during the match and let them know, hey guys, you guys are doing good. You got this. Being their cheerleader for that match was fun for me.
Yeah. Okay. Now, is there one match that you've refereed that was more particularly difficult than some others?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
It is by far the most interesting feeling now being a referee when my partner, Mike Reed, is in the ring and I have to be the referee for that match. It's just interesting.
Okay.
It's very interesting. It's like, oh, okay. So I got to tell you what to do. Bad enough I do it at home. Now I have to enforce the rules in the ring too. Awkward. But no, I mean, that one was fun, but it was just very difficult for me just because it's like, okay, how do I not take this into a voice that I would use on you at home?
Okay. And my last question for you. Who's your favorite referee of all time?
You're killing me here. So I actually have 4. Well, 3 are like still modern generation, and then 1 is from a different era who's not with WWE anymore as of when they did as of recently, actually. So one would be Aubrey from AEW. She has been very instrumental in my learning and growing as a referee. She's amazing. And honestly, a pioneer for us female referees. The other one is Drake from NXT, because he is goals right there. One is Mike Chioda, who is absolute legend of referees. Legend. And the other one is Charles Robinson.
I love Charles Robinson.
Those are all good picks.
I don't even have to go
those.
into reasons for the last two, but I mean, I don't have to go into reasons for all four, because they're all really great referees and people that I watch and study, so that I see, what they do and, put my own flavor on their work.
Alrighty, I guess it's my turn to step up. What was your training like to become a referee when you went to referee for the WWE? How was that experience?
Oh, so the tryout training.
Yes.
It was intense. So we basically had to do everything that the pro wrestlers were doing for their tryout, except for, a couple of different drills here and there, just to see how we do counts, just different things. So that part of it was different to me, because I had never done a tryout as a referee before. So I had a couple weeks of training beforehand to try to get myself ready. But when I got there, you're never, ever, 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 no matter how much you prepare for that, ever going to be truly 100% ready for what they do over the 3 days. It is the most roughest 3 days, but the most gratifying when you finish it, because you just kicked some royal tail.
All right. My next question is, what is the biggest inspiration that you could give to women who are trying to come up in the wrestling industry? What is the best advice you could probably give to them?
The best advice that I would give to a female in the wrestling industry, whether she's a referee, interviewer, backstage, anything, be yourself. Be yourself, be confident. That's one thing that I wish I had learned in the wrestling industry a long time before this, is be confident, because confidence can take you far. And be humble. Don't be afraid to help out in any way that you can, whether it's, like I said, what the referees do, is putting the ring together, setting out chairs. Learn every facet to pro wrestling that you can, like from taking tickets to learning how to be a backstage interviewer. But those would be the things that I would recommend to this next generation, and have said to the girls of this generation that I have here that are newer, is be confident, be willing to learn, and stay humble.
All right. And my final question is, what was the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome when you first entered the industry?
I'll go back to it. It was my confidence. I'm a confident person in life, but you put me, well, no, that happened recently, but it's different when you step into a wrestling ring, because if you don't have a lot of confidence outside of pro wrestling, it's only going to magnify it even worse that you don't have it in pro wrestling, or it could go the opposite way and help you find your voice. For me, it was finding my voice. It was the biggest obstacle, and finding out who I was as a personality, as the Derby doll, and now as referee Layne Rosario. It's been the biggest challenge and obstacle to find my voice and my confidence.
Nice. Thank you.
All right, Chaz, do you have your rapid fire questions?
Of course I have my rapid fire questions, host. I'm always prepared.
Good. I'm glad to see that. Can you give your rapid fire questions to our guests?
Well, aren't you the host? Don't you have the rapid fire questions?
No, because you forgot to send those to me.
Why do I have to send them to me? You're the host. You should have asked for them.
Yeah, well, the co-host was supposed to be like, see, those are things that I'm on top of as your co-host, is like, I make sure that you have all your prep stuff, and you did not do that for me.
Oh, true.
We're legitimately having a fight. Like, what are we, Studio 22?
Oh, man. All right. So I'm going to take over my show now. And so I got some rapid fire questions for you. We're going to put our imaginary timer on. Ding. See, imaginary. See it? Yep. Cool. Everyone heard that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Imaginary timer on the clock. 10 questions. First thing that comes to your mind. Don't think too hard. So here we go. Ready? And Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Favorite cartoon?
My hat, Augie Doggy and Daddy Doggy.
Dream vacation.
Cliff will like this one. Hawaii.
Favorite color.
Black.
SmackDown or Raw.
Both. Or NXT. Sorry.
Last song you sang out loud.
Warrior by Hana Kimura.
Yes. Oh, I lost my place. Oh, Batman or Superman?
Poison Ivy.
Hey, I like that.
I like that pick.
Guilty pleasure artist.
Okay. Guilty pleasure artist. The inner rocker girl in me is like, ugh. But I would have to say Cardi B.
And last but not least, Trish Stratus or Charlotte Flair?
Lita. Sorry.
Oh.
Oh,
Sorry.
bomb drop.
I appreciate that answer.
Honestly, I can't choose between Trish and Charlotte, so I'm just gonna go with that.
Funny
Sorry.
thing is, Chris Idol's favorite wrestler is his favorite female wrestler is Lita, and we've had the Lita and Trish debate so many times. So you saying Lita you just made his day.
Yes.
Well, go ahead, Cliff. Usually I would, wrap things up, but you're the host, so go ahead.
Well,
Anything
before we wrap things up, Layne, we had an episode previously where we talked about the passing of Hana Kimura, which we thought was very tragic. And as a woman in the industry, we kind of want to get your point of view and want to know what your thoughts are about bullying and like with wrestlers, and just kind of give us your thoughts of how you thought about it.
Okay, so Cliff, you and I off record have had conversations about this, and it breaks my heart, honestly, because as women, we put ourselves out there for the world to scrutinize as it is. But for somebody to take it to that level and cyberbully this poor woman to the point where she, felt like it was necessary to take her life is truly heartbreaking. And what I was saying to you is we need to teach this next generation of women that no matter what somebody sends to you on a keyboard, or no matter what the keyboard warriors have to say, you need to be tough and know that no matter what somebody can send to you online, that has nothing to do with the person that you are, or let that affect your heart and your soul. You need to not have thick skin, because it's hard. I've even said to you that when I was about 16, 17 years old, I literally was in the same position as Hana, but my mom came in and stopped me. But like, I will never again allow anybody to do that to me. And I think the women of this generation, or even in all professional wrestling or in life, like, need to understand that we need to be stronger than these cyberbullies, and they need to be persecuted to the letter of the law, because this is a disgusting thing that this poor woman at 22 years old lost her life because somebody felt that it was necessary to go behind a keyboard and tell her about herself when he doesn't even know the person that she is. So it's just heartbreaking. And if that's anything like we were talking about before that I want to pass on to this next generation of women, or the women of pro wrestling, I don't know if I can curse on here, but F social media with that stuff, the negative social media. How about you pump some positivity out there? And that's why I try to keep my social medias as positive as I can. There's enough negativity in the world, and I'm not going to be another person spreading that to everybody else. And we need to know that it should be about self-love. And if you love yourself 100%, you're going to become what I call uneffable with, that nobody's going to be able to take that away from you. And I just feel so bad for her family and friends and anybody who truly knew her, that it took the life of a 22-year-old for this industry and this world to wake the heck up and see that this should not be going on. We're not a circus act or something to be ridiculed. We're human beings at the end of the day. We all bleed the same. We all go to sleep in our beds. Like, we're all human, and that's what needs to be the thing that we all realize, that social media does not, and being a public figure, does not make us God. We're still human at the end of the day.
No, great working. Yeah, that's definitely great thoughts. So, I don't know. I mean, do we have anything else? You're looking? No, no, Chess, no, no. All right.
She hit the nail on the head on that one. I can't do nothing but say I disagree. I agree totally with her. It's sad. it is, and it's sad it takes this, an event like this for people, like she said, to wake up and to get it through their heads that this is not okay. So I'm right there with you.
Well, and the other part too, Layne, you brought this up, and I kind of want you to kind of go more detail because we just heard about it. So you had brought up that in Japan they're actually pushing laws about cyberbullying. Can you kind of like, I don't know, detail more, because we obviously know it spurned from Hana Kimura obviously passing away, but.
So I was looking on social media, obviously, like we all do. And I saw an article on CNN that apparently they're looking to pass laws that anybody who's cyberbullying, it will be convicted as a crime. I just don't know to the extent of, I think, felony, misdemeanor, or something to that effect, but they're going to be passing out laws now to prevent cyberbullying. And I think a lot of countries need to follow suit with that because, it happens everywhere. There's stories all the time. It may not be of a public figure, but it needs to go, and that this needs to happen everywhere. So hopefully this is the trickle effect. But yeah, I saw it on CNN that they were talking about how they're going to be harsher with the laws on cyberbullying.
That's definitely needed. It's definitely needed.
Yeah.
Hopefully it gets to the United States and they get a wake up call too, and they do the same thing.
That would be a wonderful thing.
It would be. I honestly, I think it'd make the world at least a little bit a better place.
Yeah, a lot more tolerable. We'll put it that way.
You got
Too much negativity.
But with that being said, Layne, can you give us your plugs? Like, tell us like where our fans can find you, like social media, where you're selling merch, just all of that.
Okay, so for social media, on Twitter and Instagram, I am at Derby Layne. And I do have some shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees as well. So those would be that. And any 8x10s, pins, stickers, all that fun stuff, people can feel free to contact me or DM me on the socials for those. Oh, and I have a blog too. Forgot about that.
I know, you sent me your blog page.
I also blog. I have hypothyroidism, so I write about my journey with that and my fitness stuff with that, and also on mental health and topics of the world. And that's Derby Layne, LYNE.wordpress.com.
And then we'll make sure that we add all that stuff into the description as well, so you guys can find it on Facebook, and then you guys can also find it on Instagram as well as Twitter, and then you guys can also find it on YouTube because we'll have this interview on YouTube as well. So with that being said, I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller. As always, is Chaz, the icon, Napster, and Chris Idol, and our lovely guest, Layne Rosario. For that, this is it, guys. Love you. We'll see you next time on the 3 Count Podcast. Congratulations, you made it to the end. Now like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Go to IG at the 3 Count Pod. Go to Twitter at the 3 Count_pod. Go to Facebook, YouTube at the 3 Count Podcast. And then go buy some merch from us. Show us some support at ProWrestlingTees.com. And you go in the search box, you'll find it right there at the 3 Count Podcast. Then, tell us that you like us. And for you guys who don't know, I am Clifford Red Dog Miller. And catchphrase.